You're listening to Weird and Dead, the paleontology podcast that tells evolution's most embarrassing and bizarre stories. I'm Megan Wetherell.
And I'm Amy Atwater, and we're two living scientists who are weirdly excited about dead things. Teeth initially evolved in the skin specifically to be sensitive, and I relate to that a little bit too hard.
On this episode, we start with your inner fish, a football-shaped monstrosity that was functionally an inside-out mouth.
And then we talk about how both ratfish mating habits and the OBGYN office share some unexpected sharp objects in common.
Like always, we talk about disturbing and disgusting things. Please check the content warnings in the description before continuing. Though if you'd like to hear even worse things about fish, you should check out our Sharkostamagogo episode, only on Patreon.
To the point of why we're gathered here today,
to celebrate
at the Church of Creepy Shit. Actually, ironically, I listened to the podcast episode about this research today, and Yara mentioned that the only citation she had, one of the few citations she'd had so far on this research, was like a creationist Christian website. And I was like, fighting the good fight. Yes. Yeah. Today we're talking about teeth, odontodes. The difference is there, and really teeth in weird places. Are they still teeth? What is a tooth? Really, it all boils down, in my opinion, to skin teeth. That's how I've been thinking about it, which kind of kept me up last night because I just kept like having weird visions of skin teeth in us. But teeth are something that we all probably don't think about too much. I do. You do a lot too as well. That's just kind of the name of the game when you're a mammal paleontologist. Teeth preserve super well in the fossil record.
Beautiful.
They're gorgeous.
I found some neon purple teeth on Sunday in the field. Neon purple fossil teeth. It's great.
That's so cool. Like not even with a light on them, just like with the naked eye?
Yeah, like just very bright purple blue. It's the specimen that has the fault cutting through it.
Sick.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, so teeth are things that how would you define a tooth, Megan?
It's
Or
the
teeth.
bone rocks that aren't covered under regular health insurance.
You need a separate, here in America. Yeah, and I think it's Titus and Kimmy Schmidt says, like, teeth are the bone sticking out of your face. Some song like that. They're not truly bone. They have a different composition than true bone. They've got even more mineral content in them, and that's why they fossilize
Hence bone
so
rocks. Bone rocks.
Bone rocks. Yeah, exactly. See, we've got the PhD here telling it like it is. Tracy has a tooth book that's, kind of in like a Dr. Seuss style. Teeth, they're very much in style. They must be very much worthwhile. So I could probably recite the whole thing, but I'm not going to do that. But how did they start? Skin teeth, what the fuck does that mean besides nightmares? But the real reason that I care about this is a personal vendetta.
Oh no.
like usual. Because I am someone who has been mocked and ridiculed and in some cases treated like a lesser human being because of my overly emotional and sensitive nature. I've been called too sensitive. I've been called too sensitive.
Sorry, that was what about teeth, not.
I know. I'm going to get there.
Okay.
No one else is putting this together because remember, I make everything about me, even if it's depressing.
Okay.
I anthropomorphize calcite, Megan.
Yeah, you did. And you did a great job of it. So
this is similar. This is in a similar vein. So I wanted to talk about this because as someone who was called too sensitive for forever, the fucking truth is, and this came out in this paper last year, teeth evolved to be sensitive structures and to be sensitive before they were co-opted to be anything else.
Okay.
So that toothache, that pain that you get eating ice cream or something like that, that's not like a problem or a negative side effect of teeth. That is literally why they evolved in the first place, was to be sensitive. So it's actually that's what's been selective for over literally 300 million years as we go into this. And again, thanks to this podcast, I actually care about the Paleozoic. Literally never gave a shit before. But now I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Ostracoderms? What? So finding it absolutely fascinating. But teeth, again, did not start out for chewing. They didn't start out for protection. They didn't even start out to be like super good at gliding through water. They started out as essential sensory structures that helped early vertebrates navigate their dark and brackish environments.
Okay.
So that is my pitchfork on sensitivity isn't a crime, and it's not bad. It's an evolutionary advantage, so fuck you, Dad.
I love it. I'm glad that you wrapped it around because I really didn't know how we were going to get from A to Z. But I'm glad we got there.
I know. Because as soon as I heard this, I was like, see, sensitivity's not bad. Everyone was like, whoa. If you read all the Pop Press articles, no one takes that angle because no one is as mentally ill as me. So it's great. So really what I want to talk about, though, is what the fuck? Yeah. What about sensitivity? I'm sensitive in a different way that your teeth are sensitive. I am misusing the word in a way, but I don't care. So really today I want to talk about how and when teeth first evolved and hypothetically why.
Okay.
Now it's complicated because I'm going to use some things loosely, like skin teeth is not diggity down with the professionals. However, it was first, not only were teeth sensitive, but they were first found on the dermal armor of early vertebrates. And again, for like sensory
I just love
stuff.
The phrase first found, like we just missed that they were in our mouths, but like evolutionarily,
sure.
we find them
They
first.
pop up. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh my God.
Wait, those things are in my mouth.
What are these? So the experts would not really be cool with me using skin or teeth in this way, and I just don't care. I mean, external dermal armor. Dermal is skin armor, so I'm sorry, that's skin. And they are hard things that are made up of all the shit that's in your teeth, so I'm calling them teeth. So technically, the true definition of teeth is a structure that contains enamel, dentine, a pulp cavity, and is only found in a mouth.
What?
I know. Technically, they're odontodes if they are enamel, dentine, and a pulp cavity, but found elsewhere. So there's like a bit of a, and I don't care. I'm calling them teeth, but I'll also be saying odontodes a lot today as well. They're homologous structures, which just means they're used for different shit, but they come from the same evolutionary and functional place. They have the same ingredients.
Okay.
The same stuff, different sourdough recipes. Sorry. And also, both of those, teeth and odontodes, are only found in vertebrates. And this matters because when we're trying to figure out when the first teeth evolve, it's been really challenging for researchers to tell the difference between some of these dermal structures in the dermal armor versus sensory structures that arthropods, arthropod things would have, like today's crabs and spiders and whatnot. But back then it was like, arthropleura and pteropod. Yeah. Nope, not well. Back then it was more like anomalocaris. That would be a better one as an example of those. Okay, so when I talk about earliest vertebrates, we're kind of talking about the jawless armored fish that I paid no attention to in our vertebrate paleontology class. Like,
despite the fact that I thought it was so fun to make puns out of them and was constantly trying osteostracans, whatever they're called.
Yeah, but that's, so they call them informally that, but technically that's paraphyletic, which just means they don't form a fancy, nice, easy little group, again, for the scientists. So in this, I'm mostly just going to call them like jawless fish, the earliest vertebrates. But yeah, you're right. I forgot. You totally did. I love
they
those little cones.
Yeah, they look like little flippered tennis rackets.
Well, yeah, exactly. Describe, you can scroll to the first image, which is kind of this environment, but I also want to hear your definition of how you would describe these early fish, the first vertebrates that we have, that we know so far.
Yeah, I mean, the first jawless fish, which I do still think that would be a really funny TikTok challenge if we could get other paleontology people to do it, is how did jawless fish eat? Do your best impression.
Yes.
Ooh. But yeah, these weird little fish, they're like, I mean, the osteostracans, they look like they've got like this big kind of wide armored head, and then they've got little armored bodies, and then little round flippers. And then this one is this like Atractostebus or Bothrialepis or something.
I just like tried really hard to avoid genus names in this.
So at some point I did write a PBS Eons episode about the evolution of bone, I think is what we settled on. And I had to pick a fish, an ancient fish, to have as like our main character. Yeah. And there were two options. And I picked the one that looked harder to pronounce because I thought that would be funny. Because I'm an asshole. Turns out,
sorry, Callie.
This was Hank Green had to say it.
Oh, good. Actually, perfect.
The editor did not quite think it was as funny when I revealed that later that I was like, yeah, that's why I picked that one. Because if you got two kind of hard things to pronounce, let's go with the worst one.
You're so evil.
Because I'm an asshole. But yeah, this one that we're looking at, it looks like a really like a scorpion, a Eurypterid, a sea scorpion that's so excited about death metal music is going after an armored football.
So Brian Ing did this art. I mean, Yara Hardy is the lead author. They've got a connection. So and I love his art, and it definitely goes metal. I feel like he would approve of that description very well. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah. And I listened to Yara's Ologies episode today to see if I got some other angles and whatnot with that, and just to hear it literally in her own voice, which was awesome. Great episode. We'll put that link somewhere. And she described them as like those little vacuums that you use, like the handheld vacuums that just like they.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they look a lot like a little armored handheld vacuum.
Yeah, so they're really, really weird. Even fish in general are very weird. They had no jaws. They just, she described, it was just like swimming around with their mouths open, just essentially filter feeding or sucking up stuff from the seafloor. Like no jaws. Like it's very hard for us to understand what that means and what that would even look like. But this is before jaws.
But you should film yourself trying mentally to figure that out and put that on social media. We'll call it the Jawless Fish Challenge.
We are, we are fish. Great. Let's give it a shot. Really, really strange looking. They didn't have any teeth, no jaw. They had bony armor, mostly like their heads and the front parts. So the back was a little less scaly, but like in this one, you can see that it has armor pretty much covering, or some sort of scales protecting it. And they also didn't have any paired fins. So they didn't have pectoral or like the pelvic fins. So you can see they've still got some like ridges and shit and like a little tail fin. But again, the football analogy is perfect there because they just...
it looks like it would have had to spiral through the water because it's not staying upright.
I love that. I think There's awesome.
No balance on this thing at all.
Yeah.
It just,
No, not at all. And again, so this is a time period when vertebrates were the new kids in town. I mean, not very numerous. These fish were not like predators at all. Again, they didn't have jaws. Like they didn't even have jaws. No teeth, at least in their mouths. No jaws. And so this Eurypterid, which is like a sea scorpion, a large arthropod at the time, these are going to be a lot of your predators, maybe even some like early cephalopod things. Other arthropods are going to be more of the ones that are predating these sorts of fish in this. I mean, this is I think this is Ordovician. Yes. So we're talking about 455 million years ago. So if we talk about Cambrian explosion being around 510 million years ago, this is, much younger than that. And again, this paper came out in Nature a year ago, led by Dr. Yara Harity, who I fangirl real hard for. Still have not met her in person, but she has a field site here in Colorado, and I low-key will just show up.
Really?
Yes. So it's actually super duper cool. It's connected too to I love paleontology. So my friend Nicole Peavy, Dr. Nicole Peavy, who's obsessed with your conodont artwork because she studied conodonts in graduate school, which are not true teeth because they don't have dentines. So we're not even going to really talk about conodonts today. She now works for CDOT as the CDOT paleontologist. And there's this road in like Skyline Drive or whatever down near Canyon City that I've still never been to. And it's got this like really crazy turn. And she's like, and a lot of people die in car accidents. And I was like, oh, okay. So they are expanding the road and all of the rock around it is Ordovician aged sedimentary rock. And so Yara is like, fuck yeah. And so she's coming out like has added this to her field site to just be advantageous of taking advantage of this construction that's going to be happening otherwise she wouldn't be able to get the permits and permission to do excavations of this level. So yeah, she's got a site here. So I might just low-key show up one time and just like, be like, hi. Hi. I'll just do this.
Help me find fish. Yeah, you'll do the jawless fish challenge in front of her with no context. That will work. That won't scare her away at all.
She's so...
What you're doing right now, not terrifying.
She's
not
so
worrying.
fucking cool. So cool. And so she's doing a postdoc at the Field Museum. She works with Neil Shubin, who's famous for Tiktaalik and Your Inner Fish. His book, Tiktaalik, helped us understand the connection between fish and tetrapods, us and all other tetrapods, fleshy finned fish, and how they went from water to disaster. And so that's a really cool partnership coming from them. But she's really interested in mineralized structures in deep time, like bone, teeth, what the hell. But as she puts it, I saw her quoted as, "Why are we not goop?" She's an amazing, I love it. I mean that she's an amazing science communicator, and I'm not meaning that like at all sarcastically, because I think that's a good way of putting it. Like trying to say, I really care about mineralized structures and deep time, like you've lost everybody. But why are we not a bag of goop with like an exoskeleton is, I think, a little bit easier for folks to kind of go, oh, that is like, yeah, that's true. And so again, like, how did we go from Cambrian times when everything was pretty goopy and even the earliest chordates were still pretty much just worm things to then fucking armored fish? So she's very curious about what the transition between those. And honestly, that's kind of what started a lot of this research, but wasn't fully answered. But they found out this really cool shit about the origin of teeth and the function of the earliest teeth. So we know that they have this armor, and on it are dermal teeth, the odontodes. So they literally have teeth on their bony skin, but they weren't really sure about the purpose. Of course, at first, everyone was like, it's for protection and fighting, because we all know who. Anyway, I have my thoughts on that. But they are finding out that it's really more about helping them sense conditions in the water around it and being able to tell things like temperature and even kind of like taste to a degree of, you can tell things like sweetness from just the tooth itself. And that a lot of critters are tasting their water to try and figure out like what's around them, because their teeth are actually functioning as these sensory structures.
So that fish is just an inverted mouth.
Yes.
Mouth on the outside, all mouth.
Yes, goop on the inside. No, well, skeleton on the inside.
Running around looking for ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, so they talk about how it's in these environments that they would have had a lot of predators. They would have had a lot of properties in the water that would have been important to understand, salinity. I mean, she compares it to the narwhal tusk that you talked about in the unicorns episode of it's not just for like jousting and pressing ladies. It's also for telling temperature and salinity so that they can know.
And bitch slapping
and
fish.
Bitch slapping, like... And it's not or, it's and.
Spandrel behavior. Yeah.
Yes. Exaptation. It's an exaptation. I was really annoyed that this one article cited Neil before they cited Yara. I was like, Neil is not the lead author on that. So she's really interested in what the earliest vertebrate is. And for a really long time, it was this one from the Cambrian that was hotly debated, the Anaptolepis. Something like that. And some folks called it it has been called both. It's been called an arthropod. So like these, I love that there's like a...
Imagine being so bad at being a vertebrate that people can't tell if you're a vertebrate or an arthropod.
Yeah, I know. Like, ew, we were that close at one point. Ew. I don't know if I like that.
I mean, really, when you look at this, like, it's just a whole bunch of hard shells. It's just, yeah.
I kind of put these pictures in out of order because I wasn't really sure where we were going to go with this. But we can just kind of go through, skip that, go past the first page and down to this chart.
Okay.
And describe what you see,
okay.
I suppose.
When you said the word chart, this wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I'm trying to figure out how to zoom in. Come on. Nope. There we go. Okay. So I see a chart wherein the first column is our friend, the football fish.
Love that.
Then a horseshoe crab. And then an actual crab. And then it's got like...
They're just their structures of their...
tissues.
Yeah. Cross-section views of their different structures.
Like, this would be the weirdest thing to find at a doctor's office. But also, it kind of would blend in at the same time. Like, if the dermatologist had one of these as a poster, that would kind of make sense.
Yeah, the one on the upper right definitely looks like do you have an infected hair follicle? Yeah. Yes. So essentially, this is trying to show that it is actually very hard when we are so early in the fossil record to tell the difference between arthropods and early vertebrates. That's really what the point is.
Yes.
And so the Anaptolepis had been argued to be either. And so if it's in the Cambrian, I mean, we're talking like 500 million years old, 480, somewhere in that range. It's a really fucking old true vertebrate. And so some folks have been like, yeah, that's as early as we have them because look, if you look at these structures, it is these odontodes. This is an odontode. These are dermal tubulars or whatever. And so, but then other researchers were like, no, it's not that. These are just homologous structures, but they're doing it differently. And so what Yara did was actually take samples of things from all over the place. So if you scroll to the next image there, you can see a few examples of what she was synchrotroning. So she took lots of fossils from this time period, the Cambrian, lots of arthropods, this supposed maybe earliest vertebrate, and then a lot of stuff from the Ordovician, so the next time period, and then synchrotroned it. We've talked about the synchrotron before. This is like a super crazy X-ray. It's like 1 billion times stronger than the X-ray that you can get in your doctor's office, and it's to get this high-resolution imagery, and then what she went through and did was essentially identifying the different structures that were in here, and came to the conclusion that this supposed Anaptolepis early vertebrate lacks true dentine. That instead, God, let me see if I can say it. It has a series of tubules or pores underneath the odontodes that they thought were odontodes that they thought looked like the chemical signature of dentine. However, when they looked at it more closely and did a larger comparative thing, they saw that it was actually more like the sensory organs of the shells of crabs. And these are sensilla. Sensillae? Sensilla. So essentially, if you think about like her analogy in the ologies episode was the little hairs on the leg of a fly. Like those are sensory structures that arthropods have that they kind of even can look like hair and things like that, but they're not. They're their own weird arthropod way of doing this that's unique to arthropods. And the way she told the difference was the absence of true dentine. So dentine was really the star of this research. Yeah. See, that's why I was like, I got really caught up on the sensitive part because it got over my head really quick. So the important part was that, hey, this isn't a vertebrate, okay? Anapoleptus, not a true vertebrate, and we don't actually,
wannabe.
It doesn't want to be, or sure, it's a wannabe, yeah, exactly. Who wouldn't want to be this?
It's just another football-shaped organism.
Yeah.
From a totally different, like they talk about carcinization, like becoming crabs and how lots of different things evolved to be crab shaped. No, footballs, clearly. That was the ideal body form in the Cambrian and Ordovician. Swimming footballs.
Exactly, to avoid those terrifying sea scorpions. Yeah. So really it like that helped them realize, it helped her create this data set that really helped identify the differences between early vertebrates versus these arthropods, and that we don't actually see true vertebrates until this Ordovician fully armored fucking fish. So again, it like doesn't quite help us with this in between of how we went from goop to full armor. But what they were able to realize is like, okay, so what's going on with these odontodes in these Ordovician, your football fish, and what's going on with those. And so then she got really curious about what those were being used for and decided to look at sharks, skates, and catfish because they have denticles. We call them denticles. Again, they're fucking teeth. They have all of the same ingredients of teeth. They're just on the skin. So skin teeth is really the name of the fucking terrifying game here. We just don't call them that. They're tooth-like structures that are called denticles that, again, it feels like sandpaper if you rub one way, but if you go the other way, it's nice and smooth. I think with them, it's mostly thought that it's for like being more efficient in the water and for just propelling themselves and for locomotion reasons that they have these. But what she was curious about was, did they have a sensory function? So if you go back to those middle images, this is her CT scan work of looking at, actually what she ended up doing is going to, she like literally went to a pet store and bought a bunch of catfish things and raised them and then looked at their embryos and then like did all this crazy cool imagery stuff to be able to see the different structures. And what she was able to figure out is that these things are sensitive. They can, in fact, they're not just for armor or for propelling them. They can also help these fish sense the environment around them. And since the structures that she found in these earliest fish resemble what we see in the modern day fish doing this, they were able to come to the conclusion that that teeth evolved first as sensory structures that were then later co-opted into the mouth. Now there's a question of, did they migrate? Like a creepy migration? Right. Or if it was once they had the genes to be able to turn that on, that then they were able to turn those on in the mouth and put them in I feel like she was more on the supporting of that side of things. Yeah. And she didn't quite figure out the earliest vertebrate, but was able to figure out that skin teeth are creepy and that the sensitivity factor of the teeth was actually the first use of teeth and teeth-like structures in the fossil record. And we're still wondering, why are we not goop? So I can't wait for more of her research on that one. Want more weird and dead content and you don't want to wait? Head on over to our Patreon for exclusive content, early ad-free episodes, and so much more. For only $5 a month, you too can hear our outtakes, exclusive episodes, and the stuff we cut for time, and also just because it was, too much.
In addition to supporting the podcast, our Patreon money also is going now to research. So if you're excited about maybe some of the science that we're doing, you might also want to head over to Patreon. Yeah, that's gross. I'm trying to make that like super cool that your teeth are on the outside of your face and that you're tasting the water all the time, but that's yucky.
Yum.
I'm sure it's very useful. I feel like it especially makes sense for like those early fish when, eyeballs were around, but like
they probably sucked.
How good were they? They probably sucked. They probably weren't doing them right. They couldn't even figure out fucking fins. I guarantee they didn't have, their eyes were not that great. So makes sense that they had to have extrasensory organs. So as my compliment to today's work, I went down the rabbit hole of ratfish who do have extra teeth. And that's, we're gonna talk about ratfish. So ratfish are,
Weird.
They're chimeras. They are a fish that is kind of surprisingly cute, especially given the name. The girls they remain cute the whole time. The boys have a surprise that makes them significantly less cute.
No comment.
No comment. The ratfish, the spotted ratfish primary paper that I read was about the spotted ratfish and about some teeth-like things on it. But you don't see them right away when you look at it. It kind of just looks like it's got big eyes. It's got a soft nose. So why don't you scroll down, not to the full first image, but just to the top panel so we can admire.
Sure. I've stopped with just
how
A and
cute.
B. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just stop with
they
A
look
and B.
like a pretty fish.
It's adorable.
It's pretty generic fish at this point. Nothing from my untrained early vertebrate eye. Yeah.
Can you see the big kind of white
on the nose
blotch in front of their eyes?
Yeah, it's they've got a fungus on their nose. Yeah. On the right it kind of looks like it's just part of its pattern, but on the first image you can tell it looks a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah. So this is a boy, and that's its boy part, not its dick. It is a boy part called the tenaculum, which as I was doing this work, I was like, God, that sounds so fucking familiar. What is a tenaculum? Well, if you've ever had an IUD inserted, the tenaculum is the sharp bit that they stab your goddamn cervix with.
That's the same name?
Mm-hmm, because tenaculum means to grab or to hold in Latin. So
I hate being alive.
When I first started looking for... I know, right? So when I just entered tenaculum into Google, I was surprised to go the gynecology
Right, you're
route,
looking at some cervix.
Yep.
The speculum and then the tenaculum is yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Been there.
So the tenaculum is on these fish is like a dongle, right? So it's a very small little thing in front of the eyes of the boys, and they can move it and kind of just, it goes up and down. It really does look like a little dongle. And if you scroll down a little further, you can see what those look like osteologically. So panels G and H.
Oh.
So why don't you go ahead and describe that?
It's like a cat penis.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say it looks very much like some of our other episodes content.
Yeah, so it's like a shaft.
Baculum.
It's like a shaft that's got a fuzzy, hairy head. But you can tell it's here, I got to move my images over closer. You can tell it's spiky. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the tenaculum.
Oh, God.
I do hate that it's called shaft and base there. Don't love
teeth.
That.
You're using the word teeth
like
incorrectly as from the scientific paper.
No, they are not.
That's weird. Oh, well, never mind. I agree. It's a tooth.
Yes.
Teeth.
Yes. So, so there's just this whole head of teeth on the top of this thing. The reason it's called tenaculum, they think, it flops up and down, and they think that the males use it to hold on to the females. There is a video on YouTube that's not as interesting as I thought it was going to be, but it is just two fish swimming next to each other, and he's got his little dickhead wrapped around her pectoral fin. So he's just coasting. Mm-hmm. So to grab and to hold, pretty accurate.
Because you just needed another appendage to be even clingier. I get it. You weren't clingy enough.
Yep. Which is why sometimes they're also called things like claspers.
Okay.
So it turns out that ratfish, so needy, have so many other ways of being needy.
Wow.
Because even though
the most codependent
they have the
evolution of the most,
they are very codependent and also kind of mean at the same time.
Well,
so they've got
tracks.
the tenaculum, right? Panel D, you can see that there's this sharp object.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's actually a dorsal spine.
Okay.
That is in all modern ratfish. All of them have this. And in a lot of them, it's venomous. So that's not a grabber. That's a don't touch me one.
Okay. Thank you. That's that. I was worried where we were going with that. So
no. That's a defense. And then in panel F, you can see that they have basically some sharp objects near their pelvis.
Yep.
And then they have a bunch of sharp objects on their claspers, which is what male sharks and rays and dogfish and ratfish all have, which are, again, claspers are used for clasping. And these ones just happen to be particularly spiky.
Okay. Ugh.
Yeah, so these guys are full spike all the time, but nobody really knew prior to this paper coming out whether you could classify these as teeth. They weren't using the in the mouth component of the definition, but do they have like enamel, dentine, pulp?
Right.
Are they showing signs of replacement? Like, are they teeth? And is it teeth on the tenaculum? Is it teeth on the pelvis? Is it teeth on the claspers?
Yeah.
How are these things developing? And it turns out that the tenaculum, those are teeth. So they have a pulp because they are innervated.
Right. Okay. So they can feel this sensitive.
They can feel. Yep. But the other ones are denticles. So they have no pulp cavity, basically. Okay. They are, I think, pretty much mostly or exclusively dentine. So the hips aren't feeling as much as the tenaculum is. Mm-hmm. And this paper was basically like a histological kind of study. They had 50 of the same species of ratfish, and they were looking at it through different stages of development to see basically how these things develop. And that's why they decided that they were, in fact, teeth. I got kind of lost in the sauce, so I'm not sure if they actually developed from the mouth tissue or not.
Right.
But I did want to very quickly show you. Ugh. So males and females, they both develop which they rudely kept calling the pimple as they are babies. And then as they become adults, that pimple becomes the tenaculum in the males and not in the females.
Does it do anything in the females? Does it go?
I don't think so.
They just keep calling it their pimple?
Their pimple. So go ahead and scroll down to the image of the pimple development.
Oh my God, Megan. Are you sure they could find it?
I know, right?
Wow. I'm impressed. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Okay, yeah. I feel like now I'm at the gynecology office.
Right? Yeah, we're going full gynecology again.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's what I have to say about that.
It's like, yeah. Pimple. I mean, I guess I'm glad they didn't call it a nipple. I feel like they were probably tempted. I'm glad they didn't call it a clitoris.
I don't know that pimple is better. Yeah, clitoris it looks more accurate for sure.
It looks like a clit.
Yeah. So tenaculums on ratfish go back. There's even one in the Carboniferous, which Rachel has drawn quite a lot of.
He loves ratfish.
He loves ratfish with their up and down dongle. He's got some up and down images so you can see how it fits into a slot on their face.
At the garage. To the garage door.
The Carboniferous one has teeth that they're not as sharp and as pointed. They're just kind of, looks like it's just got like, I don't know, like an overgrowth of like corn fungus on its face.
Ew.
So sexy. Love that. But as I was reading this, I was like, well, okay, God, why does chimera sound so familiar? I don't know anything about fish because my mind resists.
Yeah, sure.
So what is it?
Unless it's a sturgeon.
And I realized that unless it's a sturgeon. And so sturgeons, and then there's one other fish that I care about, and that is Squaloraja, which is the fish that was found by Mary Anning.
Yeah.
So I was like, isn't Squaloraja like a chimera? Don't they think maybe it was like, not a ratfish, but like something similar? Did it have a tenaculum?
Oh, it had some real weird shit going on. And Ray has drawn a lot of that too.
So Squaloraja, it's not a ratfish necessarily, but it is in the same general vicinity phylogenetically. And it did have... the boys did have a tenaculum, but it's usually called a clasper.
Okay.
And it's not quite the same. It doesn't seem to have teeth. It does have scales on it. But I did think it was really fun. And it seems like the original one that Mary Anning found was a boy, did come with the tenaculum.
Right. I mean, it's got a weird, it's got like lots of things coming off of its head.
Yeah. So go ahead and scroll down. I carefully and very... nicely highlighted the tenaculum here.
I see.
So,
okay. Yeah.
The tenaculum fits into a groove on the rostrum. It's not just a unicorn horn pointing out at all times. Tenaculum in these fish, they go up and down because they are intended for clasping and grasping of objects. So females simply don't have the thing that fits into the top. So they'll have like a long pointed face because apparently Squaloraja had a big long pointed face.
Right.
But
looks like
they don't have the weird tenaculum thing that attaches to it.
Okay. Yeah, because it looks like a giant sword, an elaborate sword. The base of the sword is very elaborate, and that's like just its nose mouth region.
It's like blunt scissors.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you're a girl, you only get one half of the scissor.
Right. And the boys, it doesn't. It's like,
and that's why lesbians are the way they are.
How will we do it? We only have half.
So what's funny is I couldn't find a picture of Squaloraja. And I don't know if we have discussed this before or not, but apparently only part of Squaloraja remains of that original holotype. The front half was lost, and we only have the back half.
I did know that.
Yeah. Do you know how the front half was lost?
I thought someone just misplaced it, or I guess not.
It got bombed in World War II.
Oh, I should have.
Fuck Spinosaurus and its fucking shitty ass story. Squaloraja got bombed just like everybody else did.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many metaphors you could make with that. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. It's freaky weird.
Yep.
And it is thought to be a chimera though, right? So again, it's like,
I think so.
Not a shark, not a skate, not a ray, not a fish, somewhere in between-ish.
Well, a fish of some
fish,
kind.
Right, sorry. But not you're right. Not a bony fish, an osteichthyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a stupid arthropod masquerading as a fish. It is a vertebrate, but yeah, they're weird cartilaginous monstrosities.
Yeah, and I think chimera.
And sometimes they have big dildo heads.
Big old dildo heads with because I remember seeing some of his art of and it being like, and these are teeth. And now I wonder, like, not only for clasping, but I wonder too if, like, again, the sensory aspect, especially for those ones that you're saying are true full-blown teeth or odontoids, whatever. And I wonder if that's part of it too. I wonder if there's even like a hormonal thing. Like, I wonder if they can sense a female's hormones in the water or some shit like that. And it's just like, oh yeah, my weird dick forehead teeth. So weird.
I mean, maybe it was kind of surprising to me that the teeth were just on the tenaculum.
Right.
And I think probably there was like a histological reason for that I missed in the paper. And that everything else was denticles. So it's not got the same kind of... I mean, denticles do have some sensory processes, as we've just discussed, but they're not quite the same. So like the claspers that I would assume are the ones that go near the genitalia, since these do have... internal fertilization. So it feels like those claspers should be the ones that are the more sensitive rather than the face stick. Apparently not.
Apparently
not. How the fish does
Apparently not. Yeah. Love that it's a face dick. I mean, can't wait. I just the whole episode just on head dicks. I think it's hilarious. I think it's great.
I think we have talked about doing one of those, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of fish with junk on their faces. Yeah, there's a few that have their true, like, gonads on their chins. So we have so many options. How will we ever decide
world is
where to go
oyster.
next? Oh, I know. I've never had to learn so much about fish. My life is so much fish now. That's great. I'm hopefully going to talk to a fish researcher in the upcoming weeks, and now I have some questions. So tell me about the tenaculum. Like, whoa, we just met.
And why is it not called the tentaculum? That's what I kept misspelling it as. I feel like there should be more of a tentacle aspect to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's bony, not tentacly.
It is bony.
Not goopy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Squaloraja is just a spike. You wouldn't call that a tentacle. So, tenaculum it is.
Tenaculum it is. A weird fish, weird skin teeth, dick teeth, which that was my final image. Totally unrelated.
Wait, yeah,
is
dick teeth.
Well, I mean, if it's on its little man parts, it's close enough. Again, I'm a loosey-goosey. Sure. But it did, well, no, again, there's a connection because to
be clear, the tenaculum,
Does
just for
not
anyone
have-
listening, it looks like a dick on its face. It's not a dick on its face. The dick is in what I presume is the normal spot for ratfish further back.
But if that fish was a dick, it was his teeth, or his name was Dick.
And I mean, a dildo isn't a dick, so it could still be used.
We don't
however
know.
it wanted.
We weren't there. Yeah. But mine made me realize, like, I was like, oh, yeah, of course, as I was writing all this horrifying and reading this horrifying shit, I was like, so does that mean vagina dentata is like totally wrong because they're really vagina odontodes? Because they're not in a mouth.
Not in the mouth.
They're not in the mouth. And then I looked up, I just was reading the Wikipedia on vagina dentata, which is like not that.
There's a Wikipedia entry.
Yes,
okay.
there is. It's about the folktale tradition in which the vagina is said to contain teeth, which is the implication that sexual intercourse is to result in injury, emasculation, or castration. It also talks about anyway, then going into cautionary tales, but there was one image on the page, so I decided to include it, and it's not what you think it is, but it is something. So I'm like, do they even
I think I need to keep going. Oh, keep going. What the?
It does.
I was looking at atractaspis or whatever. Atrapsis. It's like, how the fuck do we get there? But yeah, okay.
Why doesn't it explain it though?
Wow. Butthole and vagina knives.
That's why I thought it was so
like a
funny.
cheese grater belt.
So it was, it's called the spiked Venetian chastity belt. And I'm just like, again, they don't even fucking explain that anymore in the, that I can find at least. But yeah, this idea that it's this like belt that's got, that I guess a woman would wear, that's got like physical spikes around the vagina, or the vulva, I should say. But they also have it for the butthole. And I like really love, really.
I love the attention to detail.
We know what you're thinking. We know where you're going to go next. We're not going to give you.
I feel like maybe the size here is a little weird, and maybe my cheeks are a little closer together. But like that feels. It doesn't. Like that wouldn't fit in there.
Yeah, this
jabbing.
How does this take into variation of the taint? But I really again when I was looking at
adjustable.
It, like thinking about wearing this and like the sphincter lines you would get on any shit you took while you wore this. I was dying. I was like, who, what? So yeah, that's all. And then I also had a brief foray into teratomas, and I don't want to talk about them because I don't want to. But again, I said it, but yes, these are tumors that can have tissue in them, including hair, muscle, teeth, and bone. So I don't want to talk about it any more than that. It's fucking gross. Yeah. Yeah. And they usually form in your coccyx, in your tailbone, or in your ovaries or testicles. Like rude on top of rude. Mm-hmm. So disgusting. So I don't want to go into that, but I did Google oldest fossil teratoma with no real luck. So maybe that'd be really, really fun. But yeah, you can get teeth in all sorts of weird places. My son is at the point where he is, I can't wait. I mean, I need to get a reason to x-ray his head, which I don't want. I don't want to cause a reason to, I got to find someone who'll do it because yeah, he's got all of his baby teeth now and he's almost 3. And yeah, Yara was saying in the podcast episode that yeah, by about 3, all the adult teeth are there. They're just chilling above and you should not look up photos. Oh,
that's right. They're very gross.
Yeah, it's like lotus pod level, that kind of. But I love teeth. So to me, I'm not as grossed out by that, but I don't do well with the lotus pods. So I found that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really not good with what is it called?
Trypanophobia or whatever.
Yeah, or like the frogs that have like their little goopy holes that their babies like come out of. Like that makes me want to die. Abso-fucking-lutely. That really, really bothers me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lotus pods. Like there was one like in a doctor's office and I was like, you guys have to move that. That's fucked up. You can't have that in here. That's not okay.
That is a little bit of a weird thing to have out, but
yeah. So I'd rather have teeth in weird places than I guess random holes in weird places. But, To each their
Suit
own.
yourself, I guess.
Yeah. Skin teeth, boy part teeth, weird teeth. Now we don't have to talk about it anymore. Thank God.
Oh, all right. Immediately time to forget everything I know about fish again.
Yep.
Perfect. That's all for this episode. If you like the podcast, be sure to rate and review us on your listening platform of choice. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to hear more and support the show, you should consider following us on Patreon. Not only do you get exclusive content and early episode access, you also support our scientific research, our wonderful editor, Max Scott, and you pay for things like our awesome new theme song from Joaquin Herreros. Thank you for listening.